if we have a healthy relationship to time, then we realize there's a quality of time that's right here, right now, that shows up on our watch, that we're all keeping track of. And in the business world, people have an over association to this intelligence of time because we've got to hit deadlines and dates. And so people have this strong charge around time. But in the great yogi traditions, there's a quality of time that's limitless, it's boundless and timeless. And true presence is the synthesis of time and timelessness.
Maybe there's this like peak experience and then it's gone. And it's like, it's this pendulum of, I feel great. And all of a sudden it's like, I feel like shit. And then back. And it's like this fleeting feeling. And it's, again, it's not grounded. And one thing that you are constantly leading me through is grounding in, through my sacrum down into the middle of the earth, bringing that energy down, wrapping it around the middle of the earth, and almost like bringing that up from there. So I actually think that could be a cool thing for you to walk through, is even, the Mahalo Method. I mean, that's something that you've really, you've created, that I've done, that I've received an immense amount of value from, and just, share what that is.
Well, I can share first how it came about to be. I was really clear that I had access to the best teachers and teachings on the planet. And I was also clear that the majority of those teachings are not palpable to most people. Just most people are not interested in what somebody did in a cave. Most people aren't interested in studying quantum physics. And so the marketplace really doesn't often care about what great masters of meditation, the language they're speaking is just different than, hey, what are our KPIs and how do we hit our targets and our revenue numbers and how do we create a thriving, flourishing culture? There's people asking different questions. So I was really curious around how do I create a simple technology that's a synthesis of all the best tools that I've gathered over the years and give it to people in a way where they can own it. Yeah, like I'm going to teach it to them. Like I share the Mahalo Method with you, but ultimately I'm sure in ways you've done it with yourself and you've shared it with team members and little bits and pieces, and you probably know how to go through it. So the whole intention of it is like a tool, a comprehensive tool, one tool that's a synthesis of great tools to give to someone that they can use. So that was the intention behind it. So why don't we just walk through it? Is that cool?
I'm in.
Okay, cool. So step one is presence. And what's really fascinating is that if we have a healthy relationship to time, then we realize there's a quality of time that's right here, right now, that shows up on our watch, that we're all keeping track of. And in the business world, people have an over association to this intelligence of time because we've got to hit deadlines and dates. And so people have this strong charge around time. But in the great yogi traditions, there's a quality of time that's limitless, that's boundless and timeless. And true presence is the synthesis of time and timelessness. And when you're really in that state and you bring your awareness to right here, right now, and the quality of time that is ticking and the quality of time that's limitless and boundless, time gets really interesting where you can start to have an influence, a greater influence on the field. And now you have the energy and intelligence of love, the vibration of love in relationship with time. So step one is going to help you optimize your relationship to time. That's what that's doing. And then step two is sovereignty. So what I noticed in working with leaders is that they're taking on other people's energy. There's mom, there's dad, there's their leader, they're their coaches, their mentors, and it's all up in their field. And they're not even aware of that they're creating with other people's energy in their field, which is essentially cutting them off from their source, cutting them off from whatever you want to call the organizing intelligence of the universe or God, or what your soul connects to beyond you. If you've got other people's energy and information in your field, we're essentially not sovereign. And so step two helps people come back to their innate intelligence. Like we were talking about, the ability to trust yourself. So step two is really about trusting yourself. And step three is about liberation and freedom. So if anything, let's just call it, is stuck in your system, in your operating system, you've got a lot of fear or judgment or doubt or whatever it is that is a bound energy that's wanting to be liberated. You spend a little bit of time on that until you can get to the fourth step. I'm just calling clearing coherence. So from coherence, we start to really get connected, heart connected, body connected, mind connected, soul connected to the field, like what you're experiencing at your retreat this past weekend. So coherence is going to lead to opening our hearts, feeling really good, being really connected, tuned in, tapped in. And then when we have that, we start to get clear. And clarity is present time. So the fifth step is clarity. And it's a really important one to consider. It's present time clarity. So you might get a knowingness, but what happens if the mind grasps onto it? Oh, this is my revenue objective that I just got in my present time clarity. It likes to have a little meal on that, and it says, I need to have that. But clarity is always present time. And so it's really important to know that. Is if you start to bind the energy, you're going to just need to go back to liberation. But if you're really open to, okay, it looks like my revenue number is, let's just say $30 million. That just came up the other day. Okay, great. So that now is clear. Let's not be either attached or detached to it. Let's just let that be present time clear information. And then the next step is the ability to organize. So once we have clarity, the sixth step is organization. Now you start to create order in your field so that reality, let's just use 30 million in revenue. So that 30 million can start to organize in your field. And there's an energetic frequency that you can start to feel. You've felt this before in our work. You can start to feel the energy and the coherence of what it's like to start to have that order be manifesting. And it can even start to show you, what does it look like? What tactics might you want to implement? What strategy is going to show up that would be aligned with that reality happening? And you can start to get really grounded, let it feel good in your heart for that reality. It's always easier to manifest from love. So when we're in organization, it's to realize that most people are creating from need and fear. I need this, or I'm afraid that I'm not going to get this, which causes massive action and massive polarization and a lot of creating with doubt, which is fine, but we're just back into stress mode and burning the adrenals out to hit a goal versus flow state. And so if you're creating and you're at the sixth stage of the Mahalo Method and you're in your heart wanting what you're wanting and you're really clear on what it is, it should start to come in really easy and it should be obvious. The steps should lay out right in front of you. And then you can maintain the flow state to hit the objective, as opposed to creating a big, hairy, audacious goal that you're going to need to stress to, and it's going to knock you out of your flow and knock you out of your zone to hit it. And then the seventh step is Mahalo. So it's going to your heart and being grateful for who you are, where you're at, the team members involved in that, grateful for your connection to the universe. The extent of the magnitude of gratitude can really expand there. So gratitude really locks it in, essentially letting go of the attachment to it. It's just, I'm absolutely grateful for where I'm at. If I hit this objective, great. If I don't, it's great too, but it's the thing I'm focusing on now and I'm going to lock into it. And 9 times out of 10, if someone stays aligned with it, it's going to manifest. The only reason it wouldn't is if, one, they were not honest with themselves with what their truth was, and they were, in a little bit of a fantasy or a phobia, or they simply just changed their objective. Sometimes people will change their objective. They'll get new information and it's like, okay, I actually want this objective instead. Maybe it's 40 million in revenue. And that actually is coherent, because they've done work on themselves and they've grown, and that becomes a really obvious objective to hit. And it becomes easy to hit, not just something that you've got to strive for. So that's it in simple terms. That's how it flows.
Thanks for listening to the Rising Leader Podcast. Make sure you hit that follow button so you get notified every time a new episode releases. If you know someone who wants to take their lives and their career to the next level, send them this episode so we can all rise together. For more information, check out alluviance.co. We'll see you next time. And in the meantime, keep letting it flow.